Good morning, class. We are back once again. I know, 2 videos in a week. What a rare sign. But we are back for more discussions again. This time, we're looking not so much at set 4, but we're now looking actually at stuff that was revealed before set 4, but is coming after set 4, and that's more Harri Stride Deckset news. We have got the full card list now of what's actually in the set, and I'm going to go over the entire list, discuss what the cards used to do back in G, and how I feel they could bring that format over into the standard format. So we are obviously going to start from the bottom up. I'm going to leave the visual on the screen the entire time, the entire list, and just wherever Harri is will pop up the card we're discussing. So the first one is obviously the crests, and we've got the Masked Magician Harri crest. So obviously we know the crest is going to have the usual plus 5k for each face-up card in your G zone to your front row, and we know it's going to have the Harri becomes 13k. As for what the Harri exclusive skill is going to be, that's where things get interesting, because with the Luard one, we saw them recreate the crit trigger into the Stride Deckset crest. As for Chronojet, he built it into the time leap mechanic, like in grade 3's grade 0, so you could then time leap into a grade 1. As for Harri, though, we really don't need the Chronojet style, because obviously Magia is just us calling stuff from our soul, which we naturally build up anyway. So what I feel it's going to do, and this is the exact same thing of what I think the Night Rose one's going to do, is going to copy the starter effects back from G. And obviously our starter was Happiness Collector, which said, when something was called from your soul, put it into soul, draw a card, soul charge 1. So I could see it being, during your end phase, if a card was called by the Magia ability during your turn, draw a card and soul charge 1. So we just get a little +1, but we also generate soul at the same time. That's my guess, at least. I could be completely wrong and they do something different, but that's half the fun of speculating. Then obviously next one is the Rydek crest. This is the usual energy generator, nothing changing. We then move on to triggers. Happiness Collector is going to be the usual overdress starter of when it's rode upon, if you went second, draw a card. And then everything else is reprints. We've got Galmage Held as the Dark States overtrigger. Then vanilla crit, draw, front, and heal. 3 obviously of the front triggers, because we've got the overtrigger. But let's just move swiftly to the grade 1s, because there's not really much to discuss in the grade 0s. And the first one, again, is going to be very simple to discuss, which is Moonlight Melody Tamer Betty. And there's no need to discuss the old version, because it's going to be the exact same as all the other grade 1s from the Ride lines in the Stride deck sets. It's going to make the crest, and it's going to draw a card. Nothing else to really say. So let's actually properly start some discussions now with the next grade 1 on the list, which is the Cutie Paratrooper. So Cutie Paratrooper has got the skill of, in G format, of when she was called from the soul by a Magia ability, if you've got a Harri Vanguard, you would soul charge 1, and then call something in the same column as her and give her plus 5k. And I really don't see them changing that one bit, moving over to our overdress format. Maybe not give the scaling of the 5k, because you don't want to give that plus the crest giving a plus 10k whilst your opponent's not had a chance to persona ride and farm a hand yet. It might say GB3 to, or GB3 to, or 2 face up in the G zone to give the 5k power, just so it's got that extra bit of scaling behind it. But we'll have to wait and see regarding that. As for Masquerade Bunny, it's going to be the exact same as all the other strides. Not strides, the stride enablers, in discarding to search for the Harri, and also can be paid for this cost of stride. It's not going to change from all the other ones we've seen in the Stride deck sets. Landing Assistant, however, we don't have any image. There's no predecessing card because it's a brand new card coming for Overdress. So we can't work anything off of it. And the Dark Side Mirror Master is our Perfect Guards. So it's going to be the usual Overdress Perfect Guards, just with the Dark Side Mirror Master art whacked on it. And the Pale Moon Clan, which I will very happily take Pale Moon Perfect Guards. Especially for use in Lukier. And then grade 2s. So, starting off with the Ride Line one, we have our Card Dealer Jacqueline. So, what the interesting bit here is both Card Dealer Jacqueline and from Night Rose deck, the Pirate Sword Colombard, both in their G forms, with the on boost Counterblast 1 do something. Both of them called a unit. The Card Dealer Jacqueline was from Soul, the Pirate Sword Colombard was from Drop Zone. So I could see us keeping that, perhaps. The other thing that the later ones of Shiranui and Luard did was they actually, even Messiah, it was just Chronojet that didn't. They all worked on getting the grade 2 into the zone that would actually help your mechanic. Because we had the Leofal that was said, when it's rode upon, you Soul Blast 1 to draw a card, putting it itself in the drop, so you could then revive it for the Stride skill, so you can then Counterblast 1, retire it, and get 2 more out. So it set that up. The Messiah one slid itself from Soul, so you could then lock it to lock you on your opponent's cards. And the Shiranui one brought itself out and then revived something from your opponent's drop, so you got the Dominate target. So it did give some really interesting things to play around with. Jacqueline, I could see it calling from Soul when Strode, but I don't see... Actually, I was thinking about it. I don't see it being a Stride, because it'd be constantly free every single time of, oh, I've Strode, free cool. Oh, I've Strode again, free cool. I see it more being when your Harry's placed on your Vanguard circle, call it your Rearguard circle. Not with Magia, because otherwise it would just go back into Soul and you'd then be able to do the loop again with, oh, well, let's ride another Harry, because why not? Nope. I do see it being a 4-stick to Rearguard circle. I do feel that it's going to, on attack, extend your attacks. Just so you've got that one attack extension guaranteed from a Rearguard. But I then don't think we're going to get any other Rearguards that actually attack extend. It's going to mainly be Stride locked. This is literally the equivalent of, I'd say, to the second skill being the equivalent to Morfessa as such. Where Morfessa extends the attacks once you've got 2 phase up in the G zone. I feel that that's going to be incorporated into Jacqueline, but a bit of a better cost for the... a bit of a better restriction for the fact of it's your ride line. I think is the best way to word it. Then, same with the Landing Assistant. We've got Direful Doll Ornette, which is another brand new card, so we have no preference. But then we've got Darkside Princess. So, back in G, Darkside Princess was the, on attack, you can give it 5k, end of the battle, it goes into your soul. So it helped prevent overcalling when you're doing your multi-attack with certain strides. I'd like them to keep that, but just doing that would not be enough to make it interesting for the deck. So I do feel we are going to get additional skill alongside the on attack, gain power, go to soul. But what they could do with it, no idea. I'd like it to see them to do a, if this was called by Magia, do something, because then it would give a bit of an interesting, it rewards you for calling it via Magia. But can't wait. If called by Magia plus 5k to itself, really nice, because that makes it a 15k attacker naturally. Then, moving on, we have our grade 3s. We know what Master Magician Harry does, because it is literally the copy of the G1. Insert G Harry on screen. I have gone for one of his multiple arts that he's got, but they all have the exact same effects. But Flying Manticore is going to be the usual backup grade 3. When it's discarded for stride cost, draw a card. And then the GB2 plus 10k for certain restriction. This is going to likely be if X amount of cards were called from Soul. Because that is what Pale Moon is very much about. But now we're finally at the meat and bones of Stride deck sets. The G Zone. We've got Jester Demonic Dragon, Lunatic Dragon, which I'm very happy to see come back as the first Stride. This was my favourite card back in the G format. I loved going into this, flipping over, gaining power, and then gaining crits on top for GB3. It was really nice to have. I very much cannot wait to see him again. I don't know what he's going to do for the Overdress format. The interesting bit's going to be how do they manage him, because if they're going to give Jacqueline the multi-attack, that does mean Lunatic Dragon won't be multi-attacking, because they won't want to give too much unless they do give Jacqueline the good old I'm trying to think the name of her now. Said her a minute ago. Morfessa. That's the one I'm thinking of. They give it the Morfessa restriction of having 2 face-up cards in the G-Zone. So, I'd actually be fine with just Lunatic being power and crit gain. And just have the rearguard provide the pressure for that first stride. Especially seeing as when we move into our second stride of the beautiful Dragon Muscalade Harri, which is going to be our finisher. So obviously it's going to have the stride cost of discarding a Harri to go into him. He's going to be our board nuking our opponent and resetting our board for multi-attacks. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they do this. Another thing I do want to know is the Jacqueline is very likely going to say accept card dealer Jacqueline, because you could then loop it otherwise and that's just not fun. But all in all, the cards they've picked, very iconic for an early G-Series Harri list. But this is going to be the end of this video. If you haven't done so already, please do like and subscribe. It very much does help the channel. And I shall catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.